Welcome to This Just In, the show bringing you the latest advancements in healthcare, strategy, innovation, and public policy. And now, for the fastest voice in healthcare, here's your host, Justin Barnes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the special edition of This Just In Radio. I'm your host, Justin Barnes. Today, we're broadcasting live from ViVE26 in sunny LA. Very excited to be here. It's already been an action-packed 36 hours since I landed. The prominence of this specific show grows every year, and I feel very fortunate to be able to broadcast annually from this event. Rich Scarfo and the entire health team are extremely supportive, and I'm tremendously grateful. I also want to make a special note of thanks to Roberta Mullen and Jake Reed for their support in helping me produce these ViVE broadcasts and recordings each year. They are terrific. This is actually my 12th year broadcasting live from a healthcare industry conference, and they helped make it my best year yet. So grateful for them and certainly my amazing guests. For today, though, I have a fantastic lineup of CEOs, CIOs, care providers, innovators, policy leaders, and visionary. If you miss any of this broadcast, all my shows are from This Just In Radio are posted at Amazon Music, YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Spreaker, and the TuneIn platforms. As many of you know, my goal for broadcasting live each year from these key conferences is to create an information medium that shares best practices, strategies, and actionable intelligence from the industry's leading sources and experts. My goal, along with all my guests here, will be to offer tactics and strategies not only to survive, but to thrive as you navigate your hospital, your physician practice, your company, or even your family through all of these changes occurring across healthcare. There is more opportunity than ever before for all of us to thrive, but we must understand how healthcare is evolving, how policy and reimbursement is shifting, and where best practices and innovation can support our efforts. I hope you glean all of that over the next few days. That's at least my goal. Welcome back to This Just In Radio Show, broadcasting live from ViVE26 in sunny LA. Very excited to introduce my next guest and great friend of the show, Chris Paravate, SVP and Chief Information Officer of Northeast Georgia Health System. Welcome back to the show, my good friend.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Great to see you. First of all, when'd you get in town?
Sunday afternoon. So
It's
I know
Monday
it's
right
like
now.
it's all a blur. It's like I saw somebody. I was like, did I see you 10 minutes ago? Or did I see you 2 days ago? I'm not really sure
Or
anymore.
last year at Health or HIMSS or when did you last?
Yeah, exactly.
I know, we're flying. Taking a step back, what are you most excited about seeing in the industry right now?
I think at a macro level, I think we're seeing a pivot. I think there's a lot of downward pressure economically. And I think at the same time, people are trying to really maximize this AI phenomenon. And I think you're going to see a lot of dynamics over the next 12 months. So for me, we're continuing to focus on our cloud journey, migrating systems, really fully realizing that benefit. And then we're aggressive, super aggressive on the AI platform, and also AI governance and security and cybersecurity. And I think that's an inevitability, right? Is now you have this new capability. How do you secure it? And how do you know, right? And I think that's a risk that some organizations are really scared of, and they're doing nothing. I think our competitive advantage at Northeast Georgia is to go really innovative, but to do it in a very pragmatic way. And so those two big strategies are kind of overarching capabilities that are going to build scale for Northeast Georgia. It's going to make it the best place to work, the best place to get care, and probably the best run health system in the Southeast. That's our goal. And so technology is a big part of how we innovate that.
So what, I guess, to put you on the spot a little bit, from a clinical side and a clinical perspective, what are you most excited about AI and agentic AI?
I think it's a couple things. I mean, it's the bringing our clinicians back in touch with our patients and being able to connect. That human element is the durable value that healthcare provides. It's the caring and the compassion for the entire person, right? And that's built on a foundation of being able to be financially sustainable, right? And if the technology that drives the convergence of those two things, where I can provide compassionate care and I can do it in a more cost-effective means, is paramount, right? And that's why IT is such a huge asset to the organization strategically. And that's why I spend a lot of this time connecting with people like you and others, is to take the best ideas from different people and then bring it back to North Georgia, and impact our delivery mechanism. So
Do you see, I've heard everything and some amazing care strategies and stories this morning from health systems going from, obviously theory into actuality and what they're actually achieving an ROI and no-show appointments significantly dropping, stuff like that, just from better outreach, very simple use cases for AI. Are there any use cases that you guys have is, we've seen great tangible difference through compassionate care with some type, what example?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've heard a lot about ambient voice recognition, so I won't even go there. But we're really starting to look at how we really ensure that there is a good continuity of care across delivery platforms, and enabling some of these early adoption things like ambient is freeing up providers' time to do so. So, for example, if I go to my primary care physician and he says, "Gosh, Chris, you're 55. We probably ought to get a calcium score, see how things are going," right? Getting that scheduled, having the patient portal experience to be able to schedule and reschedule. My schedule's a little challenging. To be able to see those results and then to follow up, right? And sometimes it's just a nice thing of my primary care physician writing a note saying, "Hey, you're looking pretty good," right? It's like, okay, I can take a deep breath a little bit, right? So those types of handoffs, when a primary care physician says, "I need you to see a subspecialist," or you need to see some, we want to make sure that those individuals don't get lost in the mix. And everybody has a different way that they like to communicate. My wife still uses a paper calendar, which is kind of crazy. But so she likes to talk to someone, right? And I don't want to talk to anybody. I talk to enough people, right? So each channel is somewhat different for each patient. And so really navigating an architecture that facilitates access. Because if there is no access, there's no patient experience, right? And so access is always king. And that then creates the opportunity to deliver that consumer. So those are ways that we're really leveraging on AI that makes connections, provides relevant information about what's going on with that patient. Just some things like when I meet my primary care physician, he asks me about, "How's your daughter?" That means something to me. It's a connection. It's a trust. Right. And those are the things that are really important in our care delivery. We're also doing things to help everyone, right? Because, we serve everyone in our community, regardless of their insurance or ability to pay. We need to make sure that they are getting care frequently and in the mechanisms that they can access. And so we're looking for ways, virtually, through connected applications, and through outreach automation to really try to keep those people healthier and ultimately keep them out of the emergency room and keep them out of those higher cost settings. So a lot of different venues. We're partnering deeply with our vendor stack and really looking for who's really ready to run, right? And some of our vendor partners are ready to run. And I say, great, let's talk about development. Let's talk about how we're going to get there. And I have some that are like, I'm like, okay, well, when when you're ready, let me know. Right. And so it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun, but it's an explosive period of time.
Yeah, and I think you touched on this a little bit. What are you most passionate about that you're personally working on?
So, gosh, I got a lot of passion. I've been doing a lot in the ambulatory strategy, and so we've actually got an ambulatory strategic retreat next week. Some of it's working on the basics, right? So, like many health systems, they're trying to attract providers. We're trying to make sure that we are hiring physicians and clinicians that want to serve the model in the delivery mechanism that we want to be. And so now we're starting to have conversations about this is what it means to work at Northeast Georgia. This is what our patient experience needs to look like. This is how many patients we expect you to see. These are the tools we're going to give you to be effective in those means. That's a transformation that I think some health systems have made and others have not. We're somewhere in the middle. So we're kind of shoring up some of our foundation so that as we layer on these tools, we're laying on a solid foundation. And I think that's an important aspect. Some of these AI tools are really dependent on having a solid, robust build. And over time, your build degrades and it needs to be refreshed. And that's a big focus for us right now. I know that's not super exciting. We're doing a lot across the gamut in the AI space. One of the things that I'm pretty passionate about is how do we put the governance and again the foundation to be able to scale AI adoption. We've got a robust portfolio. We've got over 120 AI solutions in place. Knowing what data it's using, how that data is being managed, helping users grow into that decision role as an AI consumer. That's a big focus for me right now because I think it's a brand new frontier, and I think it's the organizations are just starting to realize, oh wow, how do I manage this new portfolio capability?
Well, yeah, just when you talk about going into the inventory setting and also scaling, I get really, really excited personally because my heart is there too. So that's where Amgen Care is providing.
That's right.
Inventory settings.
That's right.
Or whatever.
Yeah, the hospital visit, is the smallest component. It's the most expensive component, right? But for us to win in our market and be successful, we have to be the best place to get care, right? And that is a target for the health system, is to really be laser focused. And what does it mean? It means that I get an appointment when I need it, I get the care I need, I get the follow-up, I get treated exceptionally well, right? And that there's continuity. Whether I need it or not, whether I know I need it or not, we're going to reach out to you. We are going to help you navigate that care path.
Chris Paravate, truly appreciate you for joining me today, my friend.
Thanks, my friend. Awesome. Great to see you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Welcome back to This Justin Radio Show, broadcasting live from ViVE 2026 in sunny LA. I'm very excited to introduce my next guest and great friend of the show, Mike Silverstein, Managing Partner of Health IT and Life Sciences for DRI. Welcome back to the show, my good friend.
Hey, thank you, JB. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. So starting off, first of all, it's been a couple of good days for you.
Great show. Yep. No. What's great about this show is, although it's not as many people as HIMS and other ones, the folks that are here are really influential and pretty, pretty senior in their organization. So it's been really great.
Yeah, I said, first of all, totally agree. The quality of people here is significant, and whatever you want to accomplish, this event gives you the ability to accomplish that. You just got to have goals coming in, but yeah, they're all here.
Totally agree. I think if you come here hoping to, these companies that come here hoping to catch traffic coming by in the booth, you're going to be disappointed. But if you come here kind of organized and preset, there's nothing better.
Absolutely. So what are you most excited about seeing in the industry right now?
I am really interested to see companies that are actually making real change. I know there was a using AI. So there was an article that was kind of viral a few days ago around how AI is really going to revolutionize and put all kinds of people out of work and change the whole world and blah, blah, blah. And, I got really spooked and kind of started spinning. And then I was thinking about, I was like, if there's one industry that needs to be wildly disrupted and needs silos and costs taken out and administrative BS and an improved experience and reduce, bringing down the overall burden, it's healthcare.
Absolutely true.
Yeah. And so I think that the fact that AI is getting real and I'm even using it in my own life and own business, and the fact that I'm excited to really see, because there's just structural challenges that in my whole career in health tech have not been able to be addressed by all the various, vendors in the space that have been trying to do good. Right. But I think that tech is finally at a point where we might see some real, renaissance in industry.
We're going to see it. We're absolutely going to see it, because right now, I have a glimpse of the payment models that are launched, but also the payment models that are coming from the federal government, and they're tied to agentic AI. They're tied to AI. There's no way you can survive in 5 years from now if you're not deploying technology innovation and AI at the point of care, on the financial side, the clinical side, the operational side. There's just no way you can't. Our rising costs in healthcare have been so great for so long that it can't continue to go up. And these new payment models are forcing doctors to use technology, forcing everybody to use innovation, patients as well. This is not just about what your doctors can do. This is not about just what your staff can do, but this is what all of us need to be doing.
Totally. I think even just helping patients be better consumers. I think just the Transparency Act, cost transparency and things like that, but actually having it not have to take a PhD to be able to understand what things cost and be able to be a better consumer of healthcare. And frankly, the fact that a lot of the lower acuity things can be done by AI and hopefully, eventually help better triage where people aren't having to wait 2 months to get to a specialist and things like that, because they can get reprioritized if they really need to. Things like that can mitigate some of the structural clinical shortages out there and what have you. Hopefully we're near a tipping point.
We are. I literally you bring up a good point. With an hour before I walked into this interview today, I read an article about a friend from Atlanta who actually is kind of flipping the script and using, now it's using AI to look for the best doctors for the patients. Patients now are using AI to go find the highest ranked doctors, not who doctors are marketing, not what doctors are marketing to them, but what doctors are truly ranked highest using intelligent algorithms, not marketing language and marketing speak and fake grades.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
And then coupling that, frankly, with hey, if I go get my MRI done at this facility over here, it's a third of the cost.
That's
going to get done at the major health
exciting.
System.
Very exciting. What are you currently working on that you're most passionate about? You have a very unique perspective. I've been friends for a while. I have deep respect for what you do, what you bring to a lot of the companies that I speak with and I help. But you got your hands in some really, really cool stuff. What are you most passionate about?
I'll tell you what, I love working with folks that are A, good, normal humans.
Yeah.
B, that are mission driven, that are irritated by the fact that healthcare is just inaccessible and expensive and inefficient, and the quality in this country has just gotten poor. So the mission driven, the fact that, frankly, working with folks that are good folks. But I think where there's been a disconnect in health tech is, we always talk, it's kind of a joke that healthcare is always 10 years behind every other industry. I think what this AI avalanche that is coming is allowing the best and brightest engineers to actually come in to health tech, and the tech is becoming more commonplace here where it can actually make a meaningful impact. And so I'm getting to work with a lot of really, really neat companies who, I get to see demos of their products, and honestly, I'm speechless. Several times a week lately, where I've worked in this space for years. I'm like, I didn't even understand what we were talking about, right? But the stuff that the experience and the fact that it's just really intuitive, these offerings, and they're solving real problems without, again, requiring a computer science degree for the average human in consumer and patient in the U.S. That's what I'm really passionate about, is working with companies that have the right mission, but are now having the tools and capabilities to actually make some serious impact, and just bringing, I think, a lot of pretenders and a lot of the vultures that are just in this industry for the dollar. They've gotten washed out in the last couple of years. It's been tough. Yeah. So the ones that have kind of stayed in the game are the ones that are really passionate and are mission driven. And I think this is going to present a nice opportunity for them. My team is doing a lot of hiring right now for a lot of cool companies.
Yeah, no, and I think this is a show about innovation, technology, strategy, future of healthcare. But at the end of the day, what drives all of that is people. And that's exactly what you do. You bring the human capital to the equation. You've been critical to my world, and I'm grateful for all that you and your team does. And we can never, again, it's people that fuel. Technology is cool, but at the end of the day, we as people and our teams fuel our companies. So it's cool.
Very cool. Yeah. And look, I think at the end of the day, we have to make sure is not lost is that technology, just for the sake of technology's sake, is irrelevant. Right. I think making sure that the folks that really understand clinical workflow and that the clinicians are at the center of trying to, making their lives better, easier, faster, and allowing them to be more supportive of the patient in their job. We got to take care of some of the clinicians that are frankly overworked, and stretched really thin. I think, 20 years of electronic medical records and charting and all this kind of stuff has worn a lot of these folks out. And it's made being a clinician not as rewarding or and very taxing on their families and on their lives. And so I think giving them time back in their days and building things that actually work to make their lives better so they can do their jobs better and keep the passion that got them interested in going into medicine in the first place. Right. I think that's an underappreciated thing that is coming with this tech is just improving the lives of the clinicians, which I think has a downstream effect for everybody.
It absolutely does. Great point. So we touched this a little bit. What are your goals for ViVE 2026 and being here in LA?
Look,
and you guys come every year. You do a big sponsorship too for an event. But yeah, what are your goals here?
My goal is really to be a connector. I mean, you're a connector, JB, by your DNA. Yeah. I'm a connector by profession, but really getting the best people introduced to the right investors, introduced to the right talent at the right, and making sure that these companies can tell the right story to be able to attract the best talent, right? One of my favorite things about coming to these conferences, I've been to a million conferences over the years, is being able to just walk up and down the halls of the exhibit hall and like people grabbing me and just making those ad hoc introductions that end up turning into real opportunities and real collaboration. And I think just like in healthcare where everything's siloed, silos don't work.
Right.
Like we just need to mix it up. And it's what I've been doing, professionally with a networking group I've been putting together for a long time now that you've been a founding member of. And the more we can collaborate and reduce friction and reduce the moats that everybody tries to build around and actually work together, that's the only way it's going to happen, because there's a lot of brilliant people in this space.
Totally agree. In our closing minute or so, a couple of minutes, looking to the proverbial crystal ball, what do you think we need to be ready to navigate in 2 to 3 years from now in healthcare?
Look, I think the impending question is like, am I going to talk to a computer to get that's going to take the place of a doctor? Right. And I think we need to just make sure we're keeping the human in the loop.
Absolutely.
Going forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, look, for those of us at a conference like this who are frankly kind of tech junkies and are excited by this kind of stuff, the average American or the average person in this world is probably fairly nervous about this kind of thing. Right.
Very
and
true.
so making sure that we're using technology to augment and expand the capability of the human clinicians.
Absolutely.
Taking the administrative stuff off their plate, taking the questionnaires and lower acuity things off their plate, but using it to improve access, but like in a way that, our parents and grandparents and, sisters and brothers and aunts and uncles are comfortable. Again, we sit in this industry. I've been in this industry 17 years. You've been longer, and we get juiced up, geek out on the cool tech. But when I sit and talk to my friends over a beer and something, they're like, they have no idea what we're talking about. They're like, I went to the doctor and it really sucked and it was really expensive. Right. So making sure that, we're thinking about keeping those folks at the center of it. And frankly, look, my company, we're a small employer that's grown. We're a couple hundred people now. And healthcare is one of the biggest, the expense of healthcare is the biggest threat. Our healthcare premium has gone up 40% year over year the last 4 years in a row, to the point where we had to give everybody that's on a family plan in our company, we had to give them a $10,000 base salary raise just so they wouldn't quit, right? And the benefits, and that's for high deductible plans with crappy benefits.
Yeah.
And so that's got to change, but hopefully tech and providing, access to tech that can at least, simple questions when your kid's up at night and you need to text with a doctor or something like that. You don't have to wait, providing better, more instant consumer-based access. But again, making sure that it's not the doomsday robot thing. You're still you're empowering the clinicians, and that there's trust in the system.
And I think we're well on our way. Mike, so great to have you, my friend, as always.
Thank you, JB.
Thank
you.
You.
Appreciate you.
As always. And that's a wrap from sunny LA. Want to offer a note of gratitude to all my dedicated partners, certainly AMD and AWS, as they are great partners for the weekly syndicated This Just In Radio show. And certainly many thanks to everyone that voted us 2024 Podcast of the Year. We're grateful for you. And thank you so much to Roberta Mullen from Healthcare Now Radio for producing my show and broadcasting it for the last 12 years. And certainly, as I mentioned, my show partners, AMD and AWS, for all of their continued support. And certainly to Rich Rich Scarfo, and the entire health team for this opportunity to broadcast live from ViVE 2026 here in sunny Las Vegas. And again, a big thank you to all my listeners and supporters that voted us Podcast of the Year last year. Please tune in weekdays as the show broadcasts 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. As always, you can find me on LinkedIn at Justin T. Barnes or track me on Twitter at HIT Advisor and use the hashtag ThisJustinRadio so we can respond to some comments from this show. And you can check all my podcasts and radio shows wherever you find your music on a regular basis. And certainly check out our thought leadership page at justinbarnes.com as we keep that updated with all of our latest thought leadership. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.